Atomic Models by Group 5, ICT21B.
The atomic theory is a scientific theory that tells us the matter is composed of very small particles called atoms. The word atom comes from the ancient Greek adjective atomos, meaning indivisible. Due to rapid evolution of science, we know now that atoms are not entirely indivisible, but rather also composed of every tiny particle such as proton.
Atomic theory first started as a philosophical idea of Democritus and Leucippus. They argued that matter is made up of indivisible particles, which they called atomos. They believed that iron atoms are hard and sturdy, and matter like water have slippery atoms. This led to paradoxes and counter-arguments in philosophical and theological debates. It is not until John Dalton who unearthed the idea of Democritus and the atom in the 19th century.
Bohr's atomic model represents electron orbiting around the nucleus of an atom in circular or elliptic orbits. The electron have specific orbits and distinct orbital levels. When an electron gain energy, it becomes excited and jumps to a higher energy level.
Rutherford used the gold foil experiment where he bombarded a gold sheet with alpha particles. He concluded that while most of the alpha particles went through, about a small fraction of the particles bounced back. He then concluded that in the center of an atom is the nucleus where most of the mass is located. Rutherford's planetary model is like our solar system. The electrons are the planets orbiting around the nucleus, which is depicted as the sun. The model shows that the electrons would have to be accelerating as they orbit the nucleus because of the net centripetal force acting on them. This causes for the emission of electromagnetic radiation. This makes the model a failure because then they would lose energy, causing them to collide into the nucleus and destroy the atom. Thomson used the cathode ray experiment to then conclude that electrons exist. He used a cathode ray and a negatively charged metal plate and another positively charged metal plate, and along the end of the tube is a fluorescent coating that glows if the cathode ray would hit it. He deduced from the experiment that the cathode ray themselves are consisted of negatively charged particles. Thomson's plum pudding model describes the atoms as a positively charged mass with electrons scattered around it. It is like a plum pudding because the plums are the electrons that are scattered around the pudding, which is the protons. Further experiments show that there are not that many electrons. That is why this model is also a failure. The Schrödinger model used mathematical equations to describe the probability of finding an electron in a certain position. This is also known as the quantum mechanical model. It shows the odds of locating the electron. This model is depicted as the nucleus surrounded by an electron cloud. The denser the cloud, the more likely you will find electrons. This model introduced the sub-energy levels. This is the current model used by chemists.
Dalton's model is also called as the billiard ball model. He depicts it as a solid ball of matter that is indivisible. His research on properties of gases made him believe that inside those gases are small, very tiny particles that are in random motion. His other research in the properties of compounds, which led him to also believe that compounds consist of the same elements in the same whole number ratio.